The first thing my mother said when she walked into my living room was not, "My daughter," not, "How are you?" It was, "Where is your husband?"
And what is this evil man doing here?
I remember the way her voice cracked, like something inside her snapped. Ben was standing near the TV, still in his work shirt, adjusting his wristwatch like he always did when he was thinking. Then he looked up, and my mother Melinda froze like a statue. Her handbag slipped from her shoulder and hit the marble floor with a dull sound. For one long second, nobody moved. Not me, not Ben, not even the air conditioner's soft hum could cover how loud my heartbeat became. "Mommy," I whispered, confused. "What are you saying?" She pointed at Ben with a shaking finger. "Anita, tell me that man is not your husband." I blinked hard. "This is Ben," I said, forcing a small laugh that didn't even sound like me. "My husband! You know I told you he was coming back from Lagos today." Her eyes widened like I had slapped her. "Your husband?" she repeated, like the word tasted bitter. Ben's eyebrows lifted. "Melinda." That name from his mouth made her flinch. And that was when I knew they had met before. My throat tightened. "Have you people met?" I asked quietly. My mother's face twisted. Pain, anger, fear, everything mixed together. Then she screamed, He is your father." The room went silent again. My knees almost gave way. "My what?" I breathed. Ben took one step forward. "Melinda, stop." "Stop!" my mother snapped, rushing toward him like he was a thief. "Ben, how shameless can you be?" She grabbed his shirt at the chest, right there, like she wanted to tear the truth out of him. How can you marry your own daughter?" she cried. My eyes filled instantly. I looked at Ben. I looked at her. I looked at the framed wedding photo on the wall. Ben smiling, me in white, my veil covering half my face, happy and clueless. "No," I whispered. No, this is not real." Ben's lips tremble. He tried to remove her hands gently, but she held tighter. "Melinda," he said again, softer this time. "You caused this." My mother scoffed. "Me?" Ben's voice rose. Not in anger, in pain. "You blocked every way I tried to reach my daughter. Every way. You changed numbers, you moved houses, you denied me access, you denied her the truth." He swallowed hard, eyes glassy. "And today, see what you've done?" He turned to me. "Anita, I didn't know." My chest burned. I shook my head again and again. "You're lying," I said, but my voice was weak. "Please, both of you should stop this." Ben's shoulders dropped like something heavy crushed him. "We have been living as husband and wife for 1 year, he said, the words falling slowly. 1 year. That was when I felt it. Like my whole world HSD crashed. I pressed my hand to my mouth. A strange sound came out of me. Not a scream, not a cry, just raw shock. My mother released Ben's shirt and threw her hands in the air. "Even if she wasn't your daughter," she yelled, turning the blame on Ben. "How could you marry her? She is 20. She should be in school." I stared at her through tears. "Mummy," my voice cracked, "you were the one that told me to accept it." She froze for a split second, just A second. Then she looked away. Ben's eyes narrowed. Tell her the truth. My mother's jaw clenched. Anita, listen. No, I cut in, stepping back, shaking. No, I don't want to listen. I ran straight into my bedroom. I locked the door and slid down to the floor. My breathing was messy, loud, like I was drowning in air. In my head, people's voices replayed neighbours, strangers, even market women. Ah, your daddy is kind, oh. Your papa loves you. Back then, I used to laugh it off. Now those words felt like poison. Outside my door, I heard Ben's voice, broken. Please, Anita, open. And my mother's voice too, sharp and panicked. She's my daughter. She will listen to me. I covered my ears. I rocked back and forth. Minutes passed, or hours. I don't even know. All I knew was this. I could not stay in that house, not with that truth, sitting on the sofa like a ghost. That night, when the whole house went quiet, when I stopped hearing footsteps, I stood up slowly. My hands were shaking as I pulled out my small travel bag. I packed like a robot. 2 dresses, my phone charger, my ID card, a small bottle of water. Then I paused. I looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were swollen. My lips were dry. I didn't look like a wife. I didn't even look like a daughter. I just looked ruined. I dragged the bag quietly through the hallway. The gate remote was on the table. My fingers fumbled with it. The security light outside flickered as the gate started opening. I heard a sound behind me, a soft creak, like someone turning in their sleep. My heart jumped. I rushed to my car, threw the bag inside, and started the engine. The gate opened wider. I drove out fast. The road was dark, the Port Harcourt night air damp and heavy. Street lights came and went. My eyes were blurry from tears, but I kept driving. I didn't even know where I was going. I just wanted distance. Just wanted silence. Then my phone buzzed. Once, twice. Ben calling. I ignored it. Another call came in. Mom calling. I ignored it too. My hands tightened on the steering, and then, out of nowhere, a bright headlight flashed across my windscreen. A loud horn. My breath stopped. I swerved. The car shook violently. My tires screamed. And the last thing I saw was water ahead of me. Dark, wide, endless. God! I shouted. Then the world flipped. A crushing splash. Everywhere became dark, and everything went dark. That was the first thing I remember. Not pain, not voices, just darkness. Then a slow and steady sound. I tried to move my fingers. Nothing. My body felt heavy, like cement was placed on top of me. Then I heard crying, soft at first, then louder. Anita, please, open your eyes. That voice. Ben or my father. My heart squeezed. I forced my eyelids open. The light above me was too bright, white and sharp. I blinked again. Shapes became clearer. Hospital ceiling, ivy drip, white curtains. Then I saw them, both of them, kneeling beside my bed. My mother's eyes were swollen. Her wig slightly shifted, like she hadn't slept in days. Ben's beard looked rough, untouched, his eyes red. When he saw my eyes open fully, he gasped. "She's awake," he whispered, like he was afraid I would disappear. My mother held the bed rail tightly. "Anita, my baby." I tried to speak. No sound came out. My throat burned. Ben reached for my hand. I pulled it away, slowly, painfully. His face broke. "I'm sorry," he said immediately. "I'm so sorry." My mother shook her head, tears falling. "Forgive me, Anita. I never wanted this. I never thought." "Never thought what?" My voice finally came out faintly. They both went quiet. The beeping sound filled the room again. 3 days, Ben said softly. "You were unconscious for 3 days." I swallowed hard. The crash came back in flashes. The headlight, the horn, water. I paused. "Am I okay?" They looked at each other. That silent look adults use when they don't want to tell you the truth. Fear climbed into my chest. "Why are you looking like that?" I asked, my heart racing. Before they could answer, the door opened. A doctor walked in, middle-aged with glasses and calm face. "Good morning, Anita," he said gently. "Morning?" How many mornings had passed? He checked the monitor, then looked at me directly. "How do you feel?" "My legs feel numb," I said slowly. The room froze again. The doctor inhaled carefully. "You had a severe accident," he explained. "The impact damaged your spinal cord." I didn't understand at first. "Okay," I said, waiting for the rest. He didn't smile. "You will need long-term rehabilitation." Still not clear. "Doctor," I whispered, "will I walk?" There was silence. No one answered me. My mother burst into fresh tears. Ben covered his mouth. The doctor's voice softened. "We will try everything possible, but the injury is serious." I stared at him. "That's not what I asked," I said quietly. He held my gaze. "You may not walk again." Something inside me went completely still. No tears, no scream, just emptiness. I tried to sit up. Nothing. My legs didn't respond, not even a twitch. "Move," I whispered to them. "Move." They didn't. Panic exploded in my chest. "No, no." I started breathing fast. "This is not happening." Ben rushed forward. "Anita, please." "Don't touch me," I shouted. The nurse ran in. My heart was racing too fast. Everything blurred again. Later that evening, the room was quieter. My best friend Felicia came. She looked different, careful, like I was something fragile. She sat beside me. "You scared us," she said softly. I forced a weak smile. "You should see me now," I replied bitterly. She squeezed my hand gently. "You're still you, am I?" I didn't feel like me. I felt like a mistake. My mother stood near the window, avoiding my eyes. Ben sat on the plastic chair, staring at the floor like a criminal. I watched them both. The two people who were supposed to protect me, now united by guilt. "You two are back together?" I asked suddenly. My mother stiffened. "It's not like that." I laughed. It came out sharp. "So now that the secret is out, you people can fix your marriage?" Ben shook his head immediately. "Anita, this is not about us." "It is," I snapped. "It has always been about you two." Felicia looked at me. surprised by the anger in my voice. You fought. You hid things. You used me like a bridge. My breathing became uneven again. My childhood was already half broken, I continued. Then you people made me marry my own father. Now I can't even stand. Tears finally came. Ben stood up and knelt beside my bed again. I would give my legs for you, he said through tears. If I could take your pain, I would. I turned my face away. I don't know how to call you anymore, I whispered. Husband, Daddy, what are you? He broke completely. 1 month later, I was on wheelchair. It became my companion. It became my reality. The first day they sat me in it, I felt smaller, like life reduced in size. The hospital discharge papers were signed. Felicia pushed me outside. The sun felt strange on my face. Ben walked beside us quietly. My mother followed behind. People stared. Some whispered. I imagined what they would say if they knew the full story. See, that girl married her own father. I closed my eyes. When we reached the car, Ben opened the door gently. I'll carry you, he said softly. I hesitated, then nodded. His arms were careful and respectful, but I could still remember those same arms holding me differently a year ago, and that thought made me cry silently against his shoulder. He placed me in the seat slowly. My mother wiped her face with her scarf. Everything happens for a reason, she muttered. I looked at her sharply. For whose reason? She had no answer. As the car drove toward the house, I stared out the window at Port Harcourt traffic moving normally, people walking, laughing and having fun. And me, confined, broken, trapped between roles. Daughter, ex-wife, victim, mistake. When we arrived at the house, the gate opened slowly. The same gate I drove through the night of the accident. The same compound where my world shattered. Felicia bent close to me before leaving. You're stronger than this, she whispered. I nodded, but inside I felt something dark growing, something heavy, something that whispered, this life is not worth living anymore. That night, as everyone slept, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The house was quiet again. I reached for my phone, opened the browser, typed slowly. Painless ways to... I stopped. My hands trembled. Tears rolled silently into my ears. Outside my door, I heard faint voices. Ben and my mother arguing softly, blaming each other. Again? I closed my eyes, and for the first time since the accident, I began thinking about ending everything and rest in peace. That night, sleep didn't come. I stared at the ceiling fan turning slowly above me. My legs were covered with a soft blanket, but I couldn't feel them. That emptiness. It was louder than pain. From the hallway, I heard my parents' voices again, blaming each other. If you had told her earlier, if you had not hidden her from me, if you had not pushed her into marriage, the words stabbed through the door. I closed my eyes. Stop, I whispered to myself. Just stop. But they didn't. The truth was, their fight didn't just ruin my body. It ruined my mind. The next morning, Felicia came again. She didn't knock loudly, just a soft tap. Can I come in? I nodded. She entered with her usual small smile, but her eyes searched my face carefully. "You didn't sleep?" she said. "I don't remember how to," I replied. She pulled a chair close to my wheelchair. "You're thinking too much." I gave her a tired look. "How do I not think?" She hesitated. Then she said something unexpected. "Are you thinking of hurting yourself?" The question hit me hard. I looked away. Silence answered for me. Felicia exhaled slowly. "Anita, don't let their mistake end your story." I swallowed. My story already ended. I said quietly. "It ended the night I found out the truth." She leaned closer. "No, it didn't." I shook my head. "I was married to my father, Felicia. Do you understand that?" My voice trembled. Every memory is polluted. Every laugh, every touch, everything. She didn't interrupt. "And now I can't walk," I added. "I can't even run from this painful reality." Tears blurred my vision. Felicia reached for my hands. "You are not what happened to you," she said firmly. But I didn't believe that. Later that day, Ben came into my room alone. He knocked softly. "May I?" he asked. I didn't respond. He came in anyway. He looked older than his 60 years now. Like guilt, added 10 more. "I met with a specialist today," he said carefully. "There's a rehabilitation centre in Lagos. Very good doctors. I want to take you there." I stared at the window. "Why?" I asked. "So we can try everything possible. Or so you can feel better about yourself," I replied. His shoulders dropped. "I deserve that," he admitted. "But this is not about me." I finally looked at him. For a second, I saw not the man I married, not the man who betrayed me unknowingly, just a broken father. "Why didn't you fight harder?" I asked suddenly. He blinked. "When she blocked you, why didn't you fight harder to find me?" His lips parted. "I thought one day she would tell you," he said slowly. "I didn't want to drag you into court battles. I thought I had time." Time. That word again. "We always think we have time," I whispered. He nodded, eyes filling with tears. "I will spend the rest of my life trying to fix this." I didn't answer, because some things can't be fixed. That evening, my mother came in with food. She placed the tray on my table quietly. "I made your favourite," she said softly. "Banga soup." The smell filled the room. Once upon a time, it would have made me smile. Now, it made me tired. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, without looking at her. She froze. "I was protecting you." "From what?" "From him," she snapped suddenly. "From a man who abandoned us." Ben's voice came from the doorway. "I did not abandon you." My mother turned sharply. "You chose your career over your family, and you chose pride over truth." Their voices rose again. I covered my ears. "Stop!" I screamed. They both went quiet instantly. "Please," I begged. "Just stop." The silence after that was heavier than their argument. My mother wiped her eyes. Ben stepped back into the hallway, and I realized something painful. They were both wrong, and I was the one paying the price. That night, when everyone thought I was asleep, I rolled my wheelchair toward the balcony door. The air outside was cool. Streetlights glowed softly beyond the gate. I stared at the sky. "God," I whispered, "why me?" No answer came, just distant car horns and the sound of insects. I felt small for a moment. I let my mind drift to dark places again, to silence everything, to escape from this painful reality and stop feeling anything anymore. But then a memory interrupted. Felicia laughing loudly in secondary school. My childhood dream of becoming a lawyer. The way I used to dance in front of the mirror. The way I once believed I could travel the world. Those memories hurt, but they also reminded me something. I was more than this house, more than this tragedy, more than their mistakes. I gripped the wheels of my chair tightly. Tears streamed down my face. I don't want to die, I whispered suddenly. The confession shocked me because for days I wasn't sure. Footsteps rushed behind me. Anita? Ben's voice. He must have heard me. He came forward quickly, kneeling beside my wheelchair. Don't leave me like this, he pleaded. I already lost you once. My mother appeared behind him, trembling. I will confess everything publicly, she said desperately. I will take the blame. Just don't give up. I looked at both of them. Two broken adults, two guilty parents, and me. Stuck in between. I don't know how to live like this, I said honestly. Ben wiped his face. Then let us learn together. The wind blew softly around us. For the first time since the accident, the house felt quieter, but deep inside me, something was still unsettled. Because healing is not instant and forgiveness is not automatic. The next morning, a letter arrived at the gate. No sender's name. Just one sentence written boldly inside. The truth is not complete. I stared at the paper. My heart began beating faster. If this wasn't the full story, then what else had they hidden from me? I held the letter tightly. My hands were shaking again. The truth is not complete. That sentence refused to leave my head. Ben stood beside me. My mother hovered behind. Who sent it? I asked. The security guard swore nobody dropped it in front of him. It was just there, like someone wanted to make sure I saw it. Ben took the paper slowly. This handwriting, he murmured. My mother stiffened. You recognize it? I asked sharply. He hesitated, then nodded. It looks like Kelvin's. The name meant nothing to me. Who is Kelvin? I asked. Ben looked at my mother. She looked away. That was my answer. Talk, I said firmly. Ben inhaled deeply. Kelvin was my driver years ago, he began. He knew about you. My heart skipped. What do you mean? He was the only person who knew Melinda was pregnant when we separated. I turned to my mother slowly. You told him? She shook her head. No. He overheard us arguing one night. Ben continued. Kelvin once told me he suspected something was wrong. He said Melinda was hiding more than she admitted. I felt my stomach twist. Hiding what? My mother's lips trembled. Anita, she started. Tell me, I demanded. She burst into tears. The timeline was wrong. Ben frowned. What timeline? My mother covered her face. When I told you she wasn't yours, I lied. The room spun. You said I wasn't his child? I whispered. Ben's face drained of colour. Yes, my mother sobbed. After we separated, I told him Anita wasn't his. I told him I had moved on before you were conceived. I felt dizzy. So, you knew all along I was his? She nodded slowly. Ben staggered backward. You told me she wasn't mine, he said, voice breaking. You swore on your life. I was angry, she cried. You chose your career over us. I sent money every month, Ben shouted. You returned it. My ears buzzed. Pieces were falling into place. You destroyed both of us, Ben whispered. My mother fell to her knees. I thought I was protecting her from growing up in a broken home, she said weakly. I didn't want her confused. I didn't want her to think you abandoned her. But you made me believe he did, I said quietly. She couldn't answer. And then the worst thought entered my mind. If you told him I wasn't his, Ben slowly turned toward me. That means when I married you, his voice cracked. I believed I was marrying a stranger. The truth settled heavily in the air. He didn't knowingly marry his daughter. He married a woman he thought had no blood connection to him. And my mother had buried that truth years ago. I became very angry. I also felt relieved because it changed something important. He didn't betray me intentionally. He was manipulated too. Tears fell down my face. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I asked my mother. I was ashamed, she whispered. Ashamed that my pride caused everything. The room was quiet again, but this time the silence felt different. Ben slowly walked toward me and knelt. I will accept whatever you decide, he said gently. If you never want to see me again, I understand. If you want my name removed from your life, I understand. But I will never stop being your father. The word father didn't sting as much now. It hurt, but differently. Because now I knew he had been robbed too. Robbed of knowing me. Robbed of watching me grow. Robbed of protecting me. I looked at my mother. I forgive you, I said softly. She gasped. But forgiveness doesn't take away consequences. She nodded slowly. You and Ben need to fix your own marriage somewhere else, I continued. Away from me. They both looked surprised. I need space, I added. Not as a victim, not as your mistake, but as myself. Ben wiped his tears. What do you want to do? I swallowed. I want rehabilitation, I said firmly. Not because you feel guilty, but because I want to try. The determination in my voice surprised even me. My mother stood carefully. We will support you, she said. But from a distance, I replied, 3 months later. I was in Lagos Rehabilitation Centre. I performed painful exercises, sweat, frustration. There were days I screamed at the therapist, days I cried in the bathroom, days I wanted to quit, but I didn't. Felicia moved temporarily to Lagos to stay with me. She pushed me when I refused to try. Again, she would say, and I would try again. One evening, during therapy, something small happened. My toe twitched, just slightly. The therapist froze. Did you see that? She asked. I blinked. I felt something. It wasn't a miracle. It wasn't a full recovery. But it was hope, and hope was enough. Back in Port Harcourt, Ben and my mother attended counselling. Separately, they stopped fighting. They stopped blaming. They started rebuilding honestly, not as people pretending nothing happened, But as two adults facing their mistakes, months passed. One afternoon, I sat in the rehab garden, sunlight warming my face. Ben visited. He didn't kneel this time. He sat beside me normally. "How's my daughter?" he asked gently. The word daughter didn't break me anymore. "I'm trying," I replied. He smiled softly. "I'm proud of you." And for the first time, I believed him. A year later, I still use a wheelchair sometimes, but I can stand briefly with support. Life didn't end. It changed. I enrolled in an online law program. Felicia cheered the loudest. My relationship with my parents is still complicated. Healing is slow, but I am alive, and I chose to live. Not because it was easy, but because I deserved a future that wasn't defined by their mistakes. Moral lessons. Pride and hidden truths can destroy lives when left unspoken. Parents' unresolved conflicts often harm the children they claim to protect. Forgiveness does not erase consequences, but it opens the door to healing. Your pain does not define your destiny. Choosing to live is sometimes the greatest victory. Secrets may sleep for years, but they always wake up. This is not just a story about tragedy. It is a story about truth, about accountability, and about choosing life, even after everything falls apart. What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? If you liked this story, comment and subscribe. Subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories like this.